These are the sins that bar us from heaven. These are the sins that will take us down into the depths of fiery hell. Do we want to live in His Spirit? Do we want to live in His glory? Do we? Give me an amen to living in God's glory. Amen.
Sebring, Florida, 1995. A quiet town popular with those in retirement searching for a place with sunny skies and a warm welcome.
Sebring is a wonderful community. A lot of Midwesterners seem to come here. They really like the weather, especially during the winter months.
Many members of the aging community seek spiritual fulfillment in their twilight years.
Religion plays a very important role in the community as a whole, especially for people who have moved. They create a whole new family here, and they find that very readily available in their churches.
And aside from making new friends, they know at some point they'll require the services of a man of God in their transition to the afterlife. Men like John Canning.
Blessed are the poor in spirit.
Today is a sad day for the respected and normally energetic Reverend.
For the kingdom of heaven is theirs.
He's delivering a eulogy for Leo and Hazel, two elderly members of his congregation who shared a special place in John's life.
Leo and Hazel were both very involved in the church. They were very well-intentioned, very nice people, well-liked in the community.
Blessed are the mourners, for they shall be comforted.
Reverend John and his flock know the pair would not now be united in death if he hadn't first brought them together in life. Eight years earlier, Leo and Hazel are strangers. The seniors first cross paths at the brand new church Reverend Canning has established in town.
Hazel was a retired hairstylist. Leo was a retired draftsman. They had met each other at the church early on and were considered to be founding members.
They throw themselves into church activities. And slowly, under Reverend Canning's guidance, their affection for one another blossoms into love. Just months later, John has the honor of marrying the new Mr. and Mrs. Glees.
I now pronounce you man and wife.
Eternally grateful for his hand in matchmaking, the Gleeses want to repay their Reverend's kindness and make him an unusual offer.
They said, look, we want to become your parents, and he started calling them Mum and Dad. And he'd be very proud. He made a big point of, you know, his new adoptive parents and telling everyone about them.
The Gleeses don't have any children of their own, so it means a lot to them. Although this unorthodox family's time together proved short, it's clear to everyone present at the funeral how difficult John Canning is finding it, burying his own adoptive parents. Parishioners share the good pastor's heartache. They hope his grief will be short-lived, and he will soon be restored to vigor as the man of God who took Sebring by storm.
Do we want want to live in his spirit? Do we want to live in his glory?
1986. From almost the moment he arrives in town, Canning earns a reputation as a firebrand preacher.
Give me an amen. Raise your hands to the Lord. Feel the glory of his truth.
His old-school style of charismatic sermonizing proves a big hit.
These are sins that bar us from heaven.
And wins him a growing number of devotees.
John Canning seemed very dedicated to his parishioners and to his church. He was a very gregarious kind of person, very outgoing. He preached with vigor and seemed to be very devout in his beliefs.
These are the sins that will take us down into the depths of fiery hell.
And it's not just Reverend Canning's thumping sermons that go down well with his parishioners.
Week after week in these humble surroundings.
They're also captivated by his grand vision to build a new Jerusalem in the heart of Sebring.
Present to you the plans for a brand new church. A new church, our church.
It's been John Canning's dream for years to construct a magnificent place of worship, the Fountain of Life Church, his monument to God and focal point for his rapidly expanding congregation.
He wanted to build a new church. He had these very ambitious ideas. He wanted it to be really something. So he would make appeals to his flock for money.
Churches do not build themselves.
Eager to secure their place next to God, Sebring's wealthy, retired parishioners are quick to come on board. They readily invest in the Reverend's idea. Leo and Hazel Glees are a couple of limited means, but they dig deep to help their adopted son realize his grand scheme.
They weren't well off financially, but you saw that they donated small amounts a little bit. They were very well-intentioned, very nice people.
The Gleeses were very forthcoming. If you say, I'm having a hard time, I can't buy formula for my baby, they'd come back with $10, $20, say, here, maybe this will help get you through. They were very generous.
But tragically, the Gleeses don't live long enough to see their adopted son's new church. And the manner of their deaths has shaken Reverend Canning's congregation. There appear to be dark forces at work in Sebring. The devoted couple didn't pass away naturally. January 3rd, 1995. Police officers at Leo and Hazel's apartment study the scene of an appalling crime.
Immediately looking straight in the door, you could see Leo laying on the floor.
The heavy wounds on Leo's body leave investigators in no doubt how he died.
Leo was a victim of blunt force trauma and manual strangulation.
In the next room lies Hazel's battered body.
Hazel was bludgeoned and strangled.
There's no sign of the murder weapon. It's possible the Gleeses died in a robbery gone bad. But none of their valuables has been taken. To experts, it's clear the murderer's sole objective was to kill Leo and Hazel.
Whoever did this had to have access to the house because there's no signs of forcible entry. There were no signs of robbery. This told us that perhaps this was personal. This had to be somebody that knew the Gleeses.
the tragic circumstances of the Gleeses' deaths leave both the grief-stricken community and the authorities searching for answers. A killer is on the loose. And no one in Sebring knows where he'll strike next. January 1995. Investigators in Sebring, Florida, hunt for the murderer of Leo and Hazel Glees. They know most victims are slain by people close to them. The Gleeses have no biological children, but they do have an adopted son. The Good Reverend John Canning.
Excuse me, sir. You gotta help me. 2 people are murdered.
It was he who reported finding Leo and Hazel's bodies. Piecing together the details of his account arouses investigators' suspicion.
When did you find them?
A day ago, I guess.
Canning reveals he waited 24 hours before coming to the police. He says he panicked and didn't know what to do. But his movements during this time strike investigators as odd.
So we're going like, well, you say you panicked. Well, so what'd you do? He says, well, I went and I tended to some church business and then some personal business. Then I took my wife and a friend of ours that lives with us and we went to the beach for the day. So he didn't have any rational explanation why he waited a full day.
It's now that eagle-eyed detectives spot something unusual about Reverend John's wrist and hands.
What happened to your hands?
One of the things we noticed when John Canning was providing his interview, he had scratches on his hands, gouge marks on the inside of his hands, and he had a very distinct tan line on his wrist, and he wasn't wearing a watch.
Detectives' suspicions are aroused. What Canning's strange behavior and his wounds mean, detectives aren't certain. But they're sure of one thing. They must find out more about Sebring's respected man of God. They discover Canning is a local celebrity TV evangelist.
He developed a following. He knew what he was preaching about, appeared to be very genuine.
And it also appears the devout preacher is very interested in money to fund the foundation of his brand new church in Sebring.
My dear friends, my name's John Canning, and I know that you are aware of this incredible project that we are all part of, to build our new church. Now, I can tell you that this is...
The Reverend implores his audience to donate all they can. Many duly oblige.
We are so close to our final.
And when investigators delve into Canning's past, they make an unsettling discovery. It's clear that this preacher is well practiced at milking his congregation's Christian charity.
Stand up. Give yourselves a big hand.
Auburn, Maine, 1975. Reverend Canning arrives at the town's Full Gospel Tabernacle.
Let us all revel in the glory and delight.
The youthful firebrand's passionate preaching impresses his new flock.
Even when he was young, you know, he had these skills he was born with as a preacher, and he used his charisma to kind of wow his audiences.
He was held, for the most part, in very high esteem by his parishioners.
All of you are at risk daily of falling victim to arrogance.
the Reverend is quick to exploit his popularity and cultivates the wealthier members of his flock.
As he got more immersed into Auburn congregation, he started courting some of the richer, older members.